And that was Doug Luzeta reporting. Joining me now to discuss the immigration issue is Lasnetski and Gihon, former senior attorney with ICE and Department of Homeland Security. Good to see you, John. Appreciate you being here today. Let's start with the basic. What are your initial thoughts on the president using executive action to reform the immigration issue?
John, the president's actions, his goals are absolutely where they need to be. His goal of helping people who have been here in the United States for a certain period of time, who have families here, who are not criminals or have a very minor criminal record, to give benefits to those individuals, to protect them from deportation, and to give them work authorization is absolutely a laudable goal, and that's exactly what we should be doing. However, the way the president is doing it is absolutely the wrong way. Through executive action, without using Congress, he cannot give them long-lasting benefits. He cannot give them the long-term relief that they absolutely deserve. He gives them a short-term benefit for 3 years until the next president comes in, could absolutely change everything and tell these individuals what President Obama did is out the window and now you have to go home.
You mean by doing the executive order, the next president could come in and rescind that executive order and we're back to where we are now? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely right.
Well, the president also says, well, Congress, you could pass a bill. He's been asking Republicans to come up with a bill for some time. Now, at this point, they say they have something in the works. Does he have a point there? That, well, you didn't do anything, so I have to do something.
The president does have a point that Congress, that is both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, have not passed a bill and sent it to the president on comprehensive immigration reform. However, the problem is that the president, unlike his predecessors, seems to have absolutely no interest in negotiating and working with Congress to try to pass something in a bipartisan, meaningful, long-lasting way. When the president had his party controlling both houses of Congress, he was able to pass legislation because everyone agreed with the president on almost everything, let's say within the Affordable Health Care Act, and they passed that just barely. But on something like immigration, where you need bipartisan support in order for it to pass and for it to deal with such a controversial issue that immigration is, the president needs to roll up his sleeves, sit down with the leaders from both parties, and negotiate. You know, Republicans, what can you deal with? What can you live with? Democrats, what can you give away? And he needs to broker a deal to make this work.
But do you think that he saw the writing on the wall that he's about to lose the House and the Senate next year? So he said, all right, I got to do something right now to get this done because I'm going to get nowhere with the Republican Congress next year.
I think if he took that position, that's a defeatist attitude. He should look at it and say, the people of the United States have spoken. They want us to go in a different direction. They want us to work together. They want us to pass something that will be meaningful. And he simply did not perceive the results of the midterm election that way. And I think that's wrong. I think what he's doing now is just legacy building. He's told the individuals who are in this country without a lawful immigration status for many years, I can't do what I just did. I don't have the power to be the emperor. I can't make this happen on my own. And now he's changed his mind after the election.
And let's talk about the numbers for a second, because we've heard there's 5 million illegal immigrants right now. Number, who knows where it actually is. Do you think an action like this will cause more people to come across the border, or does it kind of stop it for now?
It absolutely will cause more people to come to the United States. This is what we call a pull. That is something that's happening in the United States that is drawing people from around the world to come to the United States. A booming economy, a booming housing industry, cheap labor, those are the types of things that pull people into the United States. If people know that they can come into the United States without authorization and find employment to support their families back in their home countries, they're absolutely going to come to the United States. Same thing with this. If people in other countries here, you come to the United States, the president is going to give you amnesty, they're going to come to the United States. They're not going to read the websites. They're not going to read the executive order and say, well, if I wasn't here already, I don't qualify. They're just going to hear the president gave amnesty to people, and they're going to run to the United States.
So they were in the same position where we'll have a few million more people here and the same debate, even after we've allowed amnesty for all the other 5 million.
Absolutely. That's part of the problem. And we saw evidence in 2012 when the president passed his DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Again, the goal is laudable. You have children who were brought here most of the time without them knowing that they were even from another country, and they've lived here and they've become Americanized and they speak English and they went to school, and then all of a sudden they realize, I'm not a citizen. The president says we should let these people stay, we shouldn't remove them, and we should give them work authorization. Well, he did that in 2012, and then we saw a uptick that is an increase in illegal border crossings every year since that happened, and it's absolutely no coincidence.
I think that's the one that kind of tugs at the heartstrings, is you have these anchor babies, I think as some people call them, where they're born born here, they've lived their entire life here, and now they're being faced with having to go back to the country, which they don't even know. Do you think that's the issue where people are like, wow, I'm stuck on that one?
I think you're absolutely right in that regard, because you have two situations. You might have a brother and a sister, one who came here as a child from another country and doesn't have any status, and another one who was born here. And then you're going to tell the family you all have to go back to your home country, and I don't think anybody supports that. If people have a little or no criminal record here in the United States, they contribute to our economy, they're good, hard-working family units, they should be able to stay. But an executive action that gives them short-term relief isn't going to solve this problem.
Let's finish up on that for this segment. You said that it's instant gratification. It's a Band-Aid fix, not a long-term solution.
Yes.
Can you sum up what a long-term solution might look like that would actually help improve the situation?
Yes, it has multiple pillars, and the Democrats and Republicans both have some things right here. We have to reform our visa process. We have to make it easier for people to come into the country, both long-term and short-term, to obtain employment. It is extremely difficult right now. If we make it easier for people to come in on a temporary or permanent basis, it will decrease the number of people coming in illegally. We absolutely have to secure the border in a better fashion than we do now. We will never ever be able to, at least with today's technology, funding, and our will, be able to completely secure the border, but we have to do a better job. And we also have to punish employers who on a regular basis are hiring and exploiting people who don't have work authorization here in the United States. Because again, that's one of those pull factors. If you stop the incentive for people to come illegally and work illegally and then send money home to their countries, then you will decrease illegal immigration.
All right, you brought up 3 points. We're going to delve into those a little bit further, including the border issue and the employer issue. So that's something I want to talk about in the next segment. Coming up here on Good Day Orlando, another look at the immigration numbers. Are we really hearing the truth about how many illegals are currently here and how many